Listen up. We are live. This, to anyone who's watching at home, this is going to be part 3. I was about to say, how many fingers am I holding? So, like I was saying before we were cut off, this is Edgar Allan Poe. He wrote some very famous poems. He is one of America's most famous poets. And he was probably best known as a prolific writer in the genres of horror and the macabre. So, yeah, anything spooky, anything to do with scary monsters, I guess. Then again, sometimes you're a monster. So here are some poems and books he's probably best known for. I think I put it up on the slide. I can't remember. Here we go. So he wrote books like this: The Raven, and Complete Tales and Poems by Edgar Allan Poe. He has written dozens of poems and just as equal amount of short stories. And they seem to have a common theme here. They're not exactly sunshine and rainbows. I remember reading this when I was in late high school, early college. These were some of the books I read, and they ended up influencing what I ended up writing in my poetry too. As I mentioned in an interview with Carrie, if any of you remember that. Hey, Vanessa, remember when Carrie was interviewing the staff members?
Yes.
She interviewed me. I mentioned Edgar Allan Poe by name. And that was her first guess. She asked, well, who were some of my inspirations? And she guessed Edgar Allan Poe. I was like, yeah, you're right. He wasn't the only one, though, but she was right.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And like I said, he originally came from Boston, but then he moved to Baltimore because he hated life in Boston, apparently. And like I said, not everyone lives forever. He also died in the year 1849.
Wow.
At the age of 40. Kind of scary to think about, seeing as how I'm 30 years old right now. So, yeah, he died a little too soon, but no one knows how he died. When they found his body in the streets, no one can figure it out. But, yeah, anywho, so we have this stereotype, misconception that he was a lonely guy, he was sad. No, he wasn't. He wrote comedies in the beginning. But later on, he started to write more stuff because he was very much influenced by horror stories that he grew up with. And especially when he was not exactly the best student. Sounds familiar, kind of like me. I was not exactly a great student. I did not do so well in math, and I certainly didn't do well in other subjects. But okay, what does that matter? I'm here. So anyway, he was a happy guy. He was a prankster, contrary to popular belief. But either way, he was an influential enough writer that he ended up influencing people like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. You know him for the Sherlock Holmes stories. And Alfred Hitchcock. You know him for such scary stories like Psycho and the Birds. So there you go. Now let's talk about the people of Maryland. Oh, wait, before we move on. This was Edgar Allan Poe's home. It's now a museum. So, I think it's half the building. One half of the building. He lived in this building in particular. This whole building in general. And so, when he lived here, he was having his creative high, I guess you could call it, and started writing poem after poem after poem, short story and short story. And that's how he earned a living. Oh, did I forget to mention, he was a very scathing, honest critic. He would review certain stories, and he would give his honest opinions. He did not hold back.
Oh.
Man, think of the most negative person. He was probably that kind of guy. He once said of a story, it was very atrocious with so many errors that I don't know where to begin. But he criticized a lot of people. But hey, to be fair, kind of did live up to his writing skills, making us question what is reality and all that. So, is that it that I have for Edgar? Oh yeah, if you go to Baltimore, you'll find his little face right here. he was commemorated as one of Baltimore's favorite writers. Yeah, so anytime you go to see Edgar Allan Poe's grave, well, this is not his grave, but there is a memorial in his honor. So yeah, moving on. So let's talk about the demographics. As you can see, this is the physical map of Maryland. Here's Annapolis, Baltimore, and I don't know if you guys can see this. I don't know. Can you see this? There's Washington, D.C. right over here. By show of hands, who knows what D.C. stands for?
Oh, I know.
You don't know?
I know.
You know what it is.
What?
No.
Oh!
Washington, D.C., the letters D.C. What is that an acronym for? Let me know if you give up. Downtown? What? Downtown LA? Hey. No, it stands for District of Columbia. Yeah. It's to indicate this is the nation's capital, right over here. And like I said, DC was supposed to be a perfect diamond, but because there's a river called the Potomac River, right over here, crossing it out. Oh well, right? You get what you got. So, Baltimore being the largest city, there's Annapolis over there along the Chesapeake. And as of 2020, there are over 6 million people living in Maryland. And most of them living in the city of Baltimore. And the most common ancestries are German, Irish, English, Italian, and Polish. And what was that thing you said that we are, even though we're not Italian, we're spiritually Italian?
We're spiritually Italian because we love Italian food.
Yep.
Yep.
Mine specifically pizza.
Me too, that's one of my favorite ones. And then the pastas.
Yep. So yeah, and I saw that Henry came in earlier, and I was surprised to know he's Polish.
Oh, nice.
I didn't know that either, and I've known him for like what, 4 years? It's pretty silly to know. You know somebody for that long, you don't even know where their ancestry comes from. But okay, whatever. So, in Maryland, excuse me. I've been talking so much. I should have brought water in here. So there are dozens of spoken languages in Maryland, believe it or not, because of the immigration that we've had here. So, in case you're wondering, these languages include English, Spanish, French, African languages, Korean, German, Tagalog, which is the language of my people, Russian, Vietnamese, Italian, various Asian languages, Persian, Hindi, Indic languages, Greek, and Arabic.
Wow.
So yeah, there are dozens of languages spoken in Maryland, even though, for the most part, the de facto language of the United States is English. But that's not to say that we don't have people from other countries over here. I mean, if anything, I'm proof of that. And half the people you know here in the country of the U.S. pretty much come from other countries. Here in Elwyn, California, we have people from other countries. It should be plenty obvious.
Yes, yo hablo español.
Yo hablo inglés. So let's conclude today's class before we have any more technical issues. So here's Carmen's favorite part. There is no expiration date. Well, Carmen missed out. Here's Maryland, and you can faintly see the Maryland flag in the background right over here. So, the final state in the country.
Okay.
So Maryland has been called Little America because what we think of America is encapsulated in this one U.S. state. However, it must be noted that everywhere in America is America. And no matter where you go in the U.S., everywhere is America. It doesn't matter if you're in California. It does not matter if you're in New York, Florida, Texas, Colorado. It doesn't matter if you're as far up as Montana. Everywhere is America, and everyone living here is American. So keep that in mind, you guys. We're living in tough times right now, and we gotta remember we gotta stick together because we're a part of one big community, not just here at Elwyn, here in the state, here in the country, here in the world. So, yeah, even though this is the United States of America, 50 states that make up one country. So, I just want to say thank you guys for joining me on this geographical journey all over the U.S. And in case you're wondering what we're going to do after that, well, sneak preview, we're going to do some U.S. overseas territories after that. And then after that, we're probably going to go back to countries. We're going to probably talk about some other countries that I'm interested in talking about. So once again, thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'm glad you have listened. So I've been your host, Jeremy. Thank you again, and I'll see you on the road.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Right. And now we're gonna go look for Linda.
No.
No?
Oh, yeah, can't
That is good. I'll be back, Jessica.
That way. You see what?
Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
Hello, everybody. It's Linda again, coming to you on a Thursday for Thirsty Thursdays. We're running a bit behind, so I'm doing my show usually at 10:30, but it's a bit later right now. So today we're going to get started, and we're going to make a coconut smoothie. So let me wash my hands real quick over here. Get some soap. All right. All right. Then you're making a smoothie, and you're going to have liquid. Add the liquid to your blender first. Okay, I'm just going to read some of these to you. So add liquids to the blender first, followed by fresh ingredients and frozen ingredients on top. This will help your blender blend everything more easily. So that means put the liquid on the bottom, and then your frozen fruit or ice on top of that. Use some frozen fruit. Make sure to use at least a frozen banana or frozen berries in the smoothie. If you use all fresh fruit, the smoothie won't turn out as thick or creamy. So, go ahead and use some fresh fruit. That means non-frozen, so that means just, cut up a banana and peel it in here, some strawberries, but they also want you to use some frozen fruit too. Like they said, it'll keep it nice and smooth. For a sweeter acai smoothie, use ripe bananas, maybe when they're a little bit brown. The acai packets are very sweet, so you'll want to get sweetness in a smoothie from the banana. So the acai, it's not very sweet, and it has to remain frozen. Okay. I don't know if any of you have ever had an acai bowl. Places around here like Fruity Bowl or Nectar, they serve the best acai bowls. But if you're gonna make it at home, you have to make sure you can get acai fruit that's frozen, and you can get an acai powder. I have never tried the powder, so. For a richer and creamier acai smoothie, use coconut milk instead of almond milk. This will also give you the smoothie a more tropical flavor, and the fat in the coconut milk will create a really creamy smoothie. So this is one thing that we're going to use today, which is this coconut milk. And do you want to make this recipe into a smoothie bowl? Double the amount of banana acai packs and use just a 1/4 cup of almond milk. You'll also need to use a stronger blender or a food processor to blend it into a thick consistency. So like I said, we are going to make, I just got some friends in my audience now. So we have, you can't see them, but I can. So we have Faye is here, and Jackie, and Jeff, and Debbie, and Raymond, and Lorena, and Liz. They're all here. It's because they want a taste of the coconut smoothie, believe me. Okay, so what do we got today? We've got,
I tried the small ones.
we've got real, I had it upside down. We have real gourmet cream of coconut, okay? The cream of coconut is a very thick, and you'll see it when I pour it in there. It's very thick, as the coconut milk we're going to use is thin. We're also going to have some coconut flakes, and we have some vanilla. And then I think I can take them out now. They were in the freezer.
What are they? Linda, what are they?
Coconut.
Oh,
So-
coconut.
We're making a coconut smoothie. So these are
Boy.
coconut chunks that have been in the freezer. Okay, so they're nice and cold. Such a hot day. All right. Oh, let me put my other glove on. Okay. All right. So the first thing we want to do is put a liquid in, like I said, and that calls for 2 cups of unsweetened coconut milk, which is right here. The coconut milk. And it doesn't matter what brand you use. You use whatever you can find or whatever you want to use. Okay? Take that. And how did it say 2 cups? So I've got my cup, my measuring cup right here. And I'm just going to try not to make a big mess. And pour milk in there. Just looks like milk. It doesn't even smell like coconut, which is weird. All right, so we're going to pour that in there. That's 1. And it called for 2 cups, so we've got to do it again. Because 1 + 1 is what? 2. Very good. All right, there we go. All right. All right. So, oh, you okay, Jackie? All right, so we got 2 cups of unsweetened coconut milk in there. And then we need a 1/2 cup of the cream of coconut, which is right here. And then you'll see, let's see, get my 1/2 cup here, right here. And then I'm going to move this maybe so you can see a little bit better. This is the cream of coconut. And you'll notice that this is thicker. So they want us to have, you can see how thick it is. And they want us to have a 1/2 cup of this. So, whoo, I use my muscles here. Squeeze this.
Go, Linda, go.
Yeah, I'm glad I chose this because, 1/2 cup. Here, you know
Do you
what?
think maybe if you open the
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna open it up and see.
There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
There we go.
Oh boy.
There we go. Now we got a half a cup. Half a cup of cream of coconut. This is a rhyming smoothie. I'm gonna take my spatula here and get out every little bit that I can get. This is coconut upon coconut. All right. Then it says 2 cups of the chunk. So we are just gonna put this whole bag in there. All right, finish that off. Yay! And then we have these flakes, these coconut flakes. You can cook with these. You can bake with these. You can put them in your smoothies, like leaving the camera. So
You ever tried the blue ones?
the blue what?
The blue coconut milk?
I have.
It's not unscented. It's like a goat milk
Oh.
into one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how many? 2 tablespoons of the coconut flakes. So let me.
They have it in mother's
Oh.
place. Yeah.
Okay.
But they're like in paper, plastic, hard plastic bottles and stuff. Not bottles, but
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jeff.
yeah.
All right. Now I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons of the flakes in here. That is 1. And that is 2. Maybe a little bit more than 2, but that's okay. All right. Then we are going to blend this up, okay? And we're gonna see if it's a little thick or thicker than we want it to be. We could add a little water, okay? So
You ever tried it?
if you want to, once we do this, if you want to thin anything out, just add more liquid, okay, like water. So I turn it on, and we're going to blend it up here. We're going to go a little higher. A little higher. Pulsate it there. I'm going to take the release button. I'm going to take my spatula here and whoops, see what we got.
You knew it was your source.
I don't think it's very thick. Oh, you know what? I forgot. Good thing. I